In this video, we're going to take a quick look at the StabilMaxRT Trim Router Table, and I'm going to show you exactly how I like to have it set up in my shop and share with you a real-life example of why it's a good idea to have two router tables set up in your shop. To begin, let's take a look at the StabilMaxRT. This router table's compact design features folding legs made out of a heavy-duty 13-gauge steel with a powder coat finish. Each leg provides plenty of room to clamp the table securely in position. The fully featured fence quickly mounts to the router table in just a few seconds. Simply set it where you'd like and lock it in place by turning these two handles. The fence on here also adjusts laterally to set the opening at the perfect distance for whatever router bit you're working with. And for dust collection, there's a built-in dust port that works with either a 2.5-inch dust collection hose or a 2.25-inch shop vacuum hose. Next to the dust port, you'll find the built-in micro adjust. With this feature, you can set the fence close to your desired position and then dial it in right where you need it. The 1-inch thick 17-ply Baltic birch table of the StabilMaxRT features a micro dot laminate on both sides. That material can effortlessly glide across super easily. The giant recess right here in the middle is where you can drop in your favorite trim router using the StabilMaxRT trim router base. This base has pre-drilled holes that make it compatible with nearly all of the most popular trim routers on the market today. For job site use, I will definitely be using it in this current setup as you see here, but for everyday use in my shop, I prefer to use this table without the legs and the fence installed. And what's nice is each leg does have an L or an R that's laser cut into it, so you always know which leg goes where. So here's what I came up with for my setup. I made this little shelf and it sits 1 inch below my work surface to accommodate for the thickness of the tabletop. With this setup, I can slide these two track clamps in the slots on the underside of the table and then flip it over and clamp it directly to the shelf, giving me a perfectly flush surface between my router table and my workbench. And I went with a more permanent setup by screwing the shelf in place to my workbench. But you can also get creative and use some multi-knobs and hex bolts to make the shelf removable if you'd like. Either way, having both surfaces flush to each other makes the workflow much more convenient. Now, since I already have a full-size router table in my shop, here's how I plan on using the second setup to work together and really help to speed up production time. Template routing, for example, is something I do often in my shop. It's generally a two-step process and it involves flush trimming a project to size and then breaking the edges with either a chamfer or roundover bit. For the flush trim part of this process, I plan on using my larger, more powerful router to accomplish this step. Once that's all finished, I can pop off the template and fire up the trim router to add a slight chamfer to the entire piece. Having both of these routers set up and ready to go makes this process go much smoother. And if you have a shop helper or work with friends from time to time, this setup is perfect. One of you can be flush trimming while the other one is breaking the edges on the smaller router table. Now, I typically work alone in my shop though, and I still find this setup very beneficial. Having the ability to turn my trim router into a full-blown router table in just a few seconds really takes that tool to another level. The coolest part about the whole swapping between handheld and router table use is that it's completely toolless. I can easily pick up my trim router and take it over to whatever larger project I'm currently working on. And the nice part is, the larger base gives me a lot more control. I have enough room to rest my entire hand on one side, keeping the router nice and stable all the way through the cut. So if you're in the market for your very first router table, or if you want to add a second router table to your shop, consider the StabilMaxRT as an option. I really enjoy using this in my shop, and I think you will too. If you have any questions about this system, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you'd like to learn more about any of the tools that you saw me use today, there's direct links to our website in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on RedTOOL Woodshop.